You are witnessing one of the most frustrating misuses of generational talent in modern basketball, and it's happening in real time. The moment Caitlin Clark steps onto the floor, the entire defense bends, panics, and reshapes itself around her gravity. Spain didn't just guard her, they hunted her with relentless double teams, aggressive blitzes off every high screen, and even shadowed her in soft box and one coverage like she was the only player that mattered. And that's exactly the point. When a player commands that level of fear, she becomes the engine of everything. But instead of unleashing that chaos, Team USA did the unthinkable. They hit her. They parked the most dangerous playmaker on the planet in the corner like a spot-up shooter, stripping away her vision, her rhythm, her control, the very qualities that make her unstoppable. And what happened? The offense collapsed into confusion. Spacing disappeared. Open lanes vanished. The beautiful simplicity of draw two, find one turned into a clogged, lifeless system because players were out of position, unsure of roles, and disconnected from any real identity. This wasn't just bad execution, this was a masterclass in overthinking basketball. When Clark actually ran the point, everything changed instantly. The pace exploded, the ball snapped around the court, defenders scrambled, and suddenly shooters were wide open on the weak side. That's not a coincidence, that's reality. That's what happens when a floor general is allowed to control the floor. But instead of leaning into that, the system kept forcing a broken experiment, trying to turn a Ferrari into a minivan, slowing down a player built to accelerate the game into chaos. And the most painful part? You could see the flashes of what this team should be. The chemistry between Clark and Paige Bueckers was electric, pure, instinctive, dangerous. One drive collapsed the defense, one kick-out created perfection, one sequence showed a future where they dominate the world for the next decade. But that future is being suffocated by hesitation, by stubborn coaching decisions, by a refusal to accept the obvious truth. This team is at its best when the ball lives in Clark's hands. Every second she spends off-ball isn't just wasted, it's damaging. Because when she becomes a spectator, the entire offense loses its identity and defaults into stagnant isolation plays, low-percentage mid-range shots, and predictable, outdated basketball that kills momentum and energy. This isn't just a stylistic issue, it's a philosophical failure. And while the chaos unfolded in the backcourt, there was a clear battle of eras happening right in front of everyone's eyes, a clash between the fast, fearless new generation and the slower, methodical veteran style that feels like it belongs in the past. The difference was undeniable. The moment the young core, Clark, Bueckers, Reese, hit the floor together, the game transformed into something explosive, faster transitions, sharper reads, relentless pressure. It felt alive. But every time momentum built, it was dragged back into the mud by rotations that made no sense, by lineups that killed rhythm, by an obsession with slowing the game down and settling for inefficient mid-range isolation plays. Meanwhile, players like Kelsey Plum brought fire, intensity, and relentless aggression, fighting through the dysfunction to keep the team alive, while De'Erica Hamby quietly delivered elite efficiency, high energy, and stability that screamed for consistency in a system that refused to commit to anything. And then there's Angel Reese, evolving in real time, adapting her game, dominating the boards, making the right outlet decisions, slowly becoming the perfect complementary force for a high-speed offense. You can see the pieces. You can feel the potential. But it's being held hostage by indecision at the top. The absence of a clear coaching vision has created a team with no identity. One game they want speed, the next they crawl into half-court isolation. That confusion spreads, and when the game tightens, it becomes painfully obvious. No structure, no leader, no clarity. The fourth quarter turns into chaos, the ball stops moving, players hesitate, and the offense becomes exactly what elite defenses want, predictable and easy to shut down. Even defensively, the cracks show, with players out of position, rotations late, and communication breaking down because frustration bleeds into effort. And yet, despite all of this, the world is catching up. Teams like Spain are no longer intimidated, they're disciplined, fast, and fearless, exposing every weakness, proving that talent alone isn't enough anymore. If Team USA continues down this path, misusing its best player, clinging to outdated styles, prioritizing seniority over performance, they are walking straight into a reality where gold is no longer guaranteed. This is the crossroads. Adapt or get exposed. Because the blueprint for dominance is right there, play fast, trust the young core, and let Caitlin Clark control the game. Ignore it, and the fall will be louder than anyone expects. And if there was ever a moment that exposed just how fragile this entire system really is, it came when the rotations completely iced out the very players who were generating momentum. You could feel it through the screen. The rhythm was gone, the confidence dipped, and even elite shooters started missing shots they normally hit in their sleep. That's not coincidence, that's what happens when you disrupt flow at the highest level. Basketball is a rhythm sport, and when you take players like Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, players who thrive on touch, timing, and control, and you sit them cold for extended stretches, then throw them back into chaotic, defined roles. You're setting them up to fail. The stat sheet might show off nights, a few ugly misses, even rare airballs, but the real story is deeper than numbers. It's about context, about mismanagement, about a system that refuses to put its stars in positions to succeed. Meanwhile, the opponent gains confidence. Spain didn't just hang around, they started believing. Every defensive stop, every missed opportunity by Team USA fed their energy, and suddenly what should have been a controlled win turned into a tense battle that exposed cracks everywhere. And the most alarming part? There was no adjustment. No clear shift. Just more of the same confusion, more forced lineups, more hesitation to fully commit to what was clearly working. It's like watching a team discover the answer to a problem, and then deliberately ignore it. When Clark runs the high pick and roll, defenses panic. When she's off ball, defenses relax. It's that simple. Yet the system keeps choosing the version that makes life easier for the opponent. That's not just questionable, that's self-sabotage. And you can see it wearing on the players. The body language shifts, the frustration creeps in, and the cohesion starts to crack because deep down, everyone knows this team is capable of so much more than what it's showing. What makes this even more dangerous is that time is running out, and the rest of the world isn't waiting for Team USA to figure itself out. International basketball has evolved, teams are faster, smarter, more connected, and completely unafraid of the American legacy. Spain proved that. They attacked weaknesses, exploited mismatches, and played with a level of discipline that exposed every moment of indecision. And looming ahead are even more dangerous opponents, teams with size, speed, and structure that will punish every mistake without mercy. This is no longer an era where raw talent guarantees dominance. If anything, it's the opposite, talent without identity becomes a liability. And right now, Team USA is dangerously close to that line. There's still time to fix it, but it requires bold decisions, not safe ones. It requires trusting the new generation, not managing it. It requires building the system around Caitlin Clark as the primary engine, not treating her like an interchangeable piece. Because when she's empowered, everything unlocks, the spacing, the pace, the confidence, the identity. Without that, this team is just a collection of great players playing disconnected basketball. The warning signs are all there: inconsistent offense, shaky defense, unclear roles, and a coaching philosophy that feels divided. You don't win championships like that. You get exposed. And if these lessons aren't learned now, before the stakes rise, the consequences won't just be criticism, they'll be unforgettable. Because when a team with this much talent falls short, it doesn't fade quietly, it echoes.